join us on today's edition of Worthy by Design, brought to you by Advent Cable Network Nigeria, ACNNTV. On this show, we focus on the journey from girlhood to womanhood and everything in between. I am Iberi Chims. Welcome. Today, our discussion will be centered on boundaries, when to say no. At the core of every healthy relationship is a properly articulated personal boundary to establish how others behave around you and you others. Without this, we continue to nurture hurt and pain in silence, which may degenerate to low self-esteem and even poor self-image. Why do ladies really need boundary? Is it not a sign of weakness? Well, find out. We have in the studio an amazing guest. She is Mrs. Joy Ogosi. She's a certified project manager at DO Projects, and she's the head of procurement. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Did I pronounce the word right?
Yes, DO. It's
right.
a French word for do.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Now let's take this from the very start. What's our boundaries? What's really our boundaries?
Boundaries, you know, as simple and as as simple as that word is, it's complicated sometimes.
Why so?
Because for you to set a boundary, you should know that, you should ask yourself, why do I need it? Why do I need to set a boundary? What is the benefit? Because if you don't know why, you won't think it's even important to set one. So for every lady or for everyone out there, you want to set boundaries, I think you have to start by asking yourself why. Why do you need it?
What is propelling you?
Yes, there should be something that is making you want to set it. And then if you don't have any reason, you can't create one. Right?
Okay.
So when we're talking about boundaries, boundaries for me, I would say is a rule you put in place for your sanity, just so that you don't lose it. Okay. You know, because when you don't have boundaries, you lose it. Everybody can talk to you anyhow. Okay. And then people can take your stuff. You know, they have boundaries for that. There are friends that just come to the house and, oh, I like this, your dress. And then there's a particular friend that always want to come and take and take and take. So you have to know why you are setting the boundaries. You take, you bring, or this particular one, don't touch it. Okay.
This is how far you can go with me on this.
Exactly.
So that's simply what boundaries is. This is how far you can go.
You can go for your sanity. Truly.
I like that, for your sanity.
If you're putting boundaries because of your sanity. If not.
Because you just keep getting angry with people.
Exactly. And they don't even know why you're angry because you didn't tell them. Yeah.
Right. So you've already told us why we need it for, so you can put body and mind together. Now let's talk about the different types of boundaries. People, or we're not talking about people, we're talking about ladies. Let's talk about the different types of boundaries ladies need.
As a lady, you need your mental boundary, you need emotional, you need physical, and then you need psychological.
Okay. Break this down for us.
Good. When we're talking about physical boundaries, of course, you know what, touch. Thank God for coronavirus. Now you can't.
Don't touch.
You can't just touch, you know, anybody anyhow. But when we talk about touch, there are people who don't know how to actually say no, because they are more concerned about what the person feels rather than what they feel. Right? So as a lady, when you're setting, you have to set that physical touch boundaries. You don't touch me like this. You don't hug me this way. You don't touch, for example, somebody's want to pass and then you just hit somebody's butt. You don't do that. You know, you don't hug me in a certain way. These are all physical boundaries you can actually set. And then we have emotional boundaries. This type of boundary is you say, you know what, I don't want to worry about people who don't care about me. Right? You know, growing up, sometimes I can digress.
Please go
a bit.
ahead.
Growing up, I had a younger sister. She's late now. My mom will always say, it's your responsibility to take care of this your sister. Just take care of her and all of that. And you know, growing up, I always want to do everything so she won't cry or she won't be sad, you know. But what my mom don't know was that she was creating a mindset that I am supposed to make people happy. Please, you know how you now grow up trying to please everybody, trying to say, you know, you can't say no. And growing up then, I had to do it even when I don't like it. I had to be nice to her. I have to, you know, give her my stuff, even when I don't want to give it out. And I realized that it affected the way I related to people. Because when I'm not supposed to give you, I would give you because I was not thinking of myself.
You just want the person to be happy.
To be happy. So when we're talking about boundaries, I think we have to know that when you're setting boundaries, think of yourself emotionally.
This is about you.
This is about you.
How you feel.
How are you feeling? How does it make you feel? You know, if you're saying no.
But some people feel guilty when they say no. And so she decides not to say no because she'll feel guilty.
Exactly. So why are you feeling guilty? That is what you have to find out.
Okay.
It's a journey. Like,
Right.
you have to discover yourself. You have to know and understand that, you know what, it's okay. Everybody won't like you. It's okay.
Now let me take you, before we go further, let me take you back to the physical boundaries, right? Now, how far should somebody go with a lady? The touch, you know? Should
Is it a relationship or just physical? Anybody?
Generally, should a guy just decide to, you know, say hello to you and hug you 360?
No, I hate that part.
Right.
You know, and then you don't have to do that. You should
There's a kind of hug.
maybe side, or you just shake the person, or better still, just stand. You don't have to touch, right?
You don't have to touch.
You don't. There's no rule that say because you want to say hello to somebody, you have to touch, especially if you're a guy, except maybe you guys are very familiar and then you know she doesn't mind.
Okay. Should she not mind? You know,
No,
shouldn't she mind?
Some people don't mind because they don't understand
That
themselves.
there's need for those boundaries.
Yes.
Right. So,
They
but
don't.
it's necessary to know that there's just so much, you know, you can take from someone of the opposite sex. Or even a lady like you.
A lady like you, yes.
Okay. So now I'll take you back to the emotion. You have talked about emotional. Let's go to psychological.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, psychological boundaries are the ones that has to do with your mind. And it doesn't just start from now. That's why I was trying to tell you the story about, you know, growing up. It's something that is inbuilt and you don't even know. When we talk about psychological, we talk about people manipulating you. You know how people come to tell you that because you self, you're too stiff. You're not
too rigid.
You're too rigid. That's why some people even go as far as saying that's why you're not married if you're a girl.
True.
Do you understand? They are playing with your mind.
So you
And
shouldn't let people do that.
Nobody should. And then because you don't want to hear that, so you
Decide
give
to-
in.
Let me just.
You'll be like, oh, it's okay. You know, in a relationship, it's okay. You know, he can do whatever he wants to do. You know, we're in a relationship.
Let me not be
People
too hard.
Exactly. You know, maybe let me just lower my standard. But when you're doing that, what you don't know is that you're giving a part of yourself out.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You're giving a part of
A
yourself.
part of yourself out.
You know, the part you're supposed to preserve. You know, everybody that has a standard, there's somebody who can actually meet it.
True. I love that. Yeah.
If you have it, there's somebody who can't, you know, get to that point. It's not yours.
It's not yours.
Just
True.
let it go. You will see somebody who will appreciate you because you have standards.
True. How should a lady go about setting these standards? Because last,
Standards.
boundaries is standards.
Yeah.
How should a lady go about this?
First of all, discover who you are.
How do I discover who I am?
Good. You know, growing up, sorry.
Please go ahead, by all means.
Growing up, our parents, because of our setting, African setting, they wouldn't want you to express yourself. And then they won't allow you look at an elderly person. You know, when you're talking eye to eye, you'll be like, no, you're not, you don't have respect or something, you know. And what they don't know is that they're already giving the girl child a complex. You can't say no. You can't look at somebody, you know, somebody, even if it's an uncle, and say, you know, uncle, I don't want to go to this place, or I don't want to eat this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to eat this. I don't want to. You can't say that because uncle is talking. Do you understand? And then your parents want to enforce that. So what they don't know is that they're giving you complex. When you're supposed to say no, in the future, you won't be able to say no. And you don't know why you're not saying no. Even when you know you don't want to do it. Exactly. Right? So it's something that we'd have to deal with from the foundation, because some of them don't even know why. Right? So you should know why. You should know why. You should know who you are. Now, you should wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I am worthy by design. True. I am beautiful. I don't have to take everybody's opinion. True. You know, I don't have to sit around and then people tell me, you know, loosen up, you're too tight, you're too this, you're too that. They should come to my, if I'm too high, they should come up. Come up here. Right? Come up. And then if you think I'm down here, somehow just let's come to me. Let's, you know, start from there. So people should be able to relate with you at your level. Great. Now, how do we make people know our boundaries? As ladies, you know, most of the time we're just so prim and proper. We just go do our thing, and then a lady tells you, this person did this to me. And they ask, did you tell the person? How will I tell the person? Is he not supposed to know? Is she not supposed to know? How do we let people know that, guy, lady, this is how far you can go with me? You communicate. How do you communicate it? Exactly. You know, when somebody, let's say for example, somebody is talking to you and they are rude, and then you don't want to use a very hard word like, I hate, you can't, you know, because you don't want to sound rude. You can say something like, I don't appreciate your tone. I don't appreciate your tone. Because you're also trying not to be as rude as the person. Exactly. Because I believe that for a woman to be rude, right? I believe that rudeness is a complex. You don't just, people who are rude, when you check it, they have complex. They're just using it as a cover-up. So you can't come to that level. When somebody is rude to you, you don't have to be rude. So you need to express it. Let people know this is me. Yes. You shouldn't come beyond this. No. Right. You don't have to. I don't appreciate the tone of your voice. I don't appreciate the way you touch me. Can we not just talk about this? Can you not say this to me? I don't like it. Right? And then when you know something is just off, you walk away. Great. Let's hang it there. We'll go on a very short break. And after, when we return, does physically, emotionally, and sexually abused lady need boundaries? This is a very important conversation. Please stay with us.
Crossfire is a program that treats controversial topics and diverse issues surrounding the church and the society.
Technology drove the inflow or the outbursts of people having Bibles because of printing technology. Same way, the digital revolution has also made it possible for people to have Bibles in various formats in their hands.
As an Anglican, I believe in Anglicanism. And Anglicanism is standing on the tripod of scripture, tradition, and reasoning. When we are about to read the Holy Gospel, all members will be made to stand up. Assuming the Gospel are read from the phone, And he says this is the gospel of Christ. You are likely to confuse a lot of people because people will be seeing phone in your hand.
In the history of Holy Communion, sir, we've never heard that somebody contacted the deeds from the other person.
I think, sir, the truth is that when people are gathered together and anything happens, whether it is an earthquake or it is a disease or anything, it spreads faster and there are more fatalities. That's just what I'm talking about.
The first evangelist in the Bible was a woman of Samaria that Jesus met at the well. Immediately this woman met Jesus. She went into the town and started telling everybody that come and see somebody who told me everything about myself.
The women actually supported the ministry of Christ, supported the ministry of the apostles, but they were never called apostles.
Welcome back to the show. We have been speaking with the sensational Mrs. Joy Ogosi on boundaries. When to say N-O. You can follow the conversation on our various social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Worthy by Design. And don't forget, leave a comment. So, we have been talking about this whole boundary thing. And you said we should communicate it, let them know plainly, this is how far you can go with me. But the challenge I have is the fact that, some people now, start feeling that, oh, if I have boundaries now, that means I'm going to be isolating myself. I will not have friends, or, it's going to look like I am selfish. I don't care about other people's feelings and all of that. Now, what would you say about these feelings? Or guilt trips. Someone is making you feel guilty because, oh, I can no longer do that. I can no longer, compromise and all of that. What is your message to a lady who feels that way?
Okay. For someone to make you feel guilty, already something is wrong. You already know something is wrong, right? And then sometimes, it's a process.
Okay.
When you're trying to set boundaries, it's a process. You have that stage where you're now guilty, for saying no, and then you now get to a point where you're now feeling like, oh my God, maybe I'm too hard. They are all stages,
Okay.
right?
So it's part of the process.
It's part of the process. But it's not okay to remain there.
Right.
It's okay to feel guilty sometimes when you say no. But now ask yourself, why did I say no?
Okay. So how do I manage those feelings?
You know why you're saying no.
So you always take yourself back to your why.
Yes. If you're tired of people using your stuff and not returning it back, right? If you're tired of a relationship that is one-sided, somebody just wants you to do stuff for them and they don't want to do anything for you, right? When you're tired, you should know why you're saying no. Because you have a why, it's easy for you to deal with the emotions. It's easy for you to deal with the guilt. It's easy for you to just say, you know what, it's okay.
So it still takes us back to the beginning. Ensure before you set boundaries, you have your why. Great. Now, are boundaries cast in stone?
Nope.
This is how I do it. I remain here?
No. Right. Nothing should be, actually. No, nothing.
Okay. So
because the world is evolving. So you have to. Right?
But the world is evolving. I am too rigid, so I need to, loosen up a bit to be able to evolve.
No. Loosening up a bit does not mean that you lose your values. Right?
So at the core of boundaries is value.
Is value. It's like saying the word is, everybody, there's this saying that say self-love, self-love. That is trending. Self-love, self-love, yes. And all of that. But there are people who are taking it to another level.
And it's selfish.
Selfishness, right? You see somebody who is hurting that you can actually help, you'll be like, me, I want to take care of myself first too, and all of that. But there are you have to know when to
draw the line.
Draw the line.
And are they also setting boundaries that are just for a season? Are just for a particular situation you're in?
Yeah.
So after that situation, what do you do with those boundaries?
Okay. There are boundaries that you set because of a particular relationship or a co-worker,
Okay.
right? And then you know that this person is infringing on your rights. You're not free. They are very rude and all of that. So you set those boundaries in that place because, you know, you don't want it to continue, right? Now, when you have already set that boundaries, it's like a stone. You just keep rolling. You don't have to keep, you know, saying it over and over and over. Over time, people know that. People just know that this one, don't go here, you know. So you don't have to now say, okay, I'm going to set another one, another. People eventually will now know this is where you stand. Meaning that if you're setting your boundaries, you should be consistent.
Okay, so you're not changing. Okay.
So people will know. If you say nobody should hug, I don't like a particular way of hugging, don't come tomorrow and then hug somebody the same way you say you don't want to be hugged, you know? You're contradicting yourself. So you should be consistent. It will help.
Okay. So let's go to something that is, whenever I talk about women, I just can't help it. I must talk about children. Probably because we carry the womb.
Exactly.
Now, you in your bio, you stated that you have a certification in child psychology. Now, let's take this to the children. How important is teaching them boundaries? In this era, we hear of, you know, pedophiles, we hear of rape, we hear of violations in the home. How do we teach our children boundaries?
If you want to teach a child boundary, you have to start it as a parent. Now, you tell your child, if you don't like something, let me know. Yes.
We should give them that kind of liberty.
Yes.
Oh
I actually give my children that liberty. When you don't want something, let me know.
Okay.
So she come back, she say, Mom, I don't like this. And then the next question is why? Now you want to know why. So they don't just, it's not like they're just saying it because you said so. Do you understand? Why? And then they give you reason. Try to listen.
Okay.
And then, you know, because of coronavirus, I told my children, I said, when you're going out, nobody should touch you. You don't have to touch surfaces. You don't have to touch anybody and all of that. So the little one went to the supermarket to get something. You know how somebody will be passing and be like, hey, baby, you know, touch her. She said, I don't like to be touched. There's coronavirus. I don't like to be touched. And then the guy was like, oh, sorry. I said, it's okay. She doesn't like to be touched. Thank you.
So it starts from those little things.
Yes.
So by the time they grow, they learn to set their own boundaries.
Exactly. And then listen. You can't tell, they can't say no and you're not listening.
You need to learn how to listen. Now, for a lady who has very critical bosses, co-workers, parents, okay, that's far, long-term, husband at home, how can she shield herself from, you know, those criticisms that make her feel like, hey, you're not good enough, you're not doing well, this small thing, you know, if you do, you know, that kind of a thing. How can she handle those things? How can she set boundaries to take care of those kind of things?
You know, stuff like that, words are very powerful, right? As powerful as words are, it's also powerful when you talk, what you say to yourself, right? When you have somebody who is rude, it's not your fault. When you have somebody like a co-worker or a boss. Okay.
Right. So, but I want you to round up with this issue. The lady who has been emotionally, physically, and sexually abused, who feels that there is no need for boundaries, what will you be saying to her as your last parting words?
Okay. I would want to say to that woman, I want to say to that woman that you are worthy. It doesn't matter what has happened before. That is your past. You have a beautiful future. Anything that happens from now is what you decide. Decide to make your life worth it. Say no if you want to say no. Say yes if you need to say no. And let me let you know that everybody will not like you. Everybody will not like you. It's okay. It's okay if you have people who think you're very rigid. It's okay. It's okay if you feel that, you know, this person is looking at me this way because of what I'm saying or something. It's okay. But I want you to forgive yourself. Whatever happened, forgive yourself. It was never your fault. You know, sometimes even if it was your fault, forgive yourself.
And set boundaries.
Set boundaries.
Thank you.
Tell yourself this is the last. It will never happen. You won't catch me in the compromising state anymore.
Right.
This is it. Thank you.
Right. Forgive yourself and set boundaries. Whatever happens after now is your fault.
Yeah.
And when you create those boundaries, you are proving to yourself and others that you value yourself. Don't live your life to chance. Protect your efforts at self-development. Keep the positive vibes in, yeah? And the negative vibes out of the door. And we have been speaking with an amazing, I wish you had more time, an amazing guest, Joy Ogosi. Thank you so much for making our time to share your knowledge with us. And this is how far we can go on today's edition of the show. Time ran, man. Thanks for watching. Do join us again next week. Same time, same station for another exciting edition of the show. Until then, remember, ladies, you are worthy by design. So set boundaries. See you next time.